The danger does not begin when grocery store shelves are empty. By the time you see that moment, the hollow metal racks, the quiet tension in the aisles, the strange absence of delivery trucks behind the store, the system that feeds modern civilization has already been failing for days, possibly weeks. The true vulnerability hides upstream in a chain of tightly synchronized systems that most people never see and rarely question. Modern food availability does not depend on how much food exists on the planet. It depends on timing, precision, and an infrastructure that moves calories through a fragile logistical network that was never designed to absorb prolonged disruption. The moment that network begins to falter, food does not gradually become scarce. It disappears with alarming speed. The reason lies in how modern food distribution actually works. Contrary to popular belief, supermarkets are not warehouses. They are temporary display points in a rapid flow system known in logistics as just-in-time inventory management. This system evolved over decades because it is extremely efficient. Warehouses are expensive. Storage space costs money. Refrigeration consumes enormous amounts of electricity. Every pallet sitting in storage represents capital that is not being used elsewhere. So corporations optimize the system to minimize idle inventory. Instead of storing months of food locally, stores rely on constant replenishment from regional distribution centers. Those distribution centers rely on national freight networks. And those freight networks depend on uninterrupted fuel, labor, scheduling software, and functioning transportation infrastructure. This design creates an invisible illusion of abundance. A typical large supermarket in an urban region may carry between 20,000 and 40,000 individual products. The visual density of those products makes the store appear fully stocked. But if you analyze the caloric supply represented by those shelves, a different picture emerges. Most grocery stores contain roughly 3 days of food for the surrounding population under normal purchasing behavior. That number is not speculation. It comes from retail inventory turnover data and supply chain throughput modeling used by emergency management agencies worldwide. The store looks full because food moves through it extremely quickly. Every day trucks arrive. Every day trucks leave. The shelves refill before customers notice the previous shipments disappearing. This is where the misunderstanding begins. Many people assume that food scarcity during emergencies occurs because food production suddenly stops. In reality, agricultural production rarely halts overnight. Crops continue growing. Livestock continues existing. Food processing plants often continue operating for some time. The problem is movement. Food must travel enormous distances between farm, processing facility, distribution center, and retail outlet. The average item in a supermarket travels approximately 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers before reaching the consumer. That journey involves multiple handoffs between transportation systems. If even one major link breaks, trucking, fuel distribution, refrigeration networks, port operations, or digital logistics systems, the flow slows or stops. The hidden science behind this vulnerability is rooted in a concept known in systems engineering as throughput dependency. Throughput refers to the rate at which a system moves material from input to output. High-throughput systems are efficient but fragile. When throughput declines even slightly, backlog accumulates quickly. Imagine a highway designed to handle 10,000 vehicles per hour. If capacity drops by 20%, traffic does not decrease by 20%. It collapses into gridlock. Food supply chains behave the same way. When transportation delays occur, distribution centers begin filling faster than they can unload. Trucks wait longer. Drivers exceed regulated working hours. Scheduling software becomes less accurate. Soon deliveries begin arriving late to stores. Shelves are not replenished on schedule. Customers notice small gaps. Those gaps trigger behavioral changes that accelerate the disruption. Human behavior is a critical but often overlooked factor in supply chain collapse scenarios. When consumers perceive scarcity, they change purchasing patterns instantly. Instead of buying what they need for the next few days, they buy what they believe may disappear soon. This phenomenon has been studied extensively during disaster response events and is known as demand amplification. A small disruption in supply triggers a disproportionately large spike in demand. The result is a feedback loop. Stores that normally sell a predictable volume suddenly experience purchasing surges 2, 3, even 5 times higher than normal. The shelves empty far faster than delivery schedules can compensate. Emergency planners have documented this pattern repeatedly during real events. When major hurricanes threaten coastal regions, supermarkets often lose entire categories of food within hours. Bottled water, canned goods, rice, flour, and shelf-stable proteins vanish first. This is not because the total supply vanished overnight. It is because the distribution rhythm that normally replaces those items cannot match the surge in demand. Even if trucks continue arriving, they cannot refill shelves at the speed they are being emptied. guaranteed. The perception of shortage becomes the cause of the shortage. At this point, many observers assume that the solution is simple: store more food in warehouses. But this assumption ignores the enormous energy requirements and spoilage risks associated with long-term food storage. Much of the food people consume today is perishable. Fresh produce, dairy products, meats, and prepared foods require refrigeration or freezing throughout their journey. These cold chain systems consume massive quantities of electricity. Globally, refrigeration accounts for a significant share of energy demand in food distribution networks. Maintaining months of supply would require vastly larger refrigerated facilities, higher costs, and increased food waste due to expiration. This is why modern supply chains prioritize velocity over storage. Food moves quickly because storing it for long periods is inefficient. Unfortunately, velocity-based systems are extremely sensitive to disruptions. If fuel deliveries slow, trucks stop. If truck drivers cannot reach distribution centers due to weather, labor shortages, or infrastructure damage, the flow halts. If electrical outages interrupt refrigeration systems, stored food can spoil within hours. Each of these vulnerabilities compounds the others. Evidence for these risks is not theoretical. Government emergency preparedness agencies routinely conduct stress simulations of supply chains. One widely cited model used in disaster planning indicates that major metropolitan regions can experience significant food shortages within 72 hours of large-scale transportation disruption. That number aligns with retail inventory turnover statistics. It also explains why emergency preparedness guidelines across multiple countries recommend households maintain at least several days, and preferably weeks, of independent food reserves. However, here another misunderstanding emerges. Many people interpret emergency food storage as simply buying large quantities of canned goods at the last moment. But this approach often fails because panic purchasing occurs simultaneously across entire populations. When millions of households attempt to build food reserves at the same time, the system cannot supply them all. The infrastructure that normally distributes food gradually suddenly faces a massive spike in demand. The result is empty shelves long before individuals finish preparing. The hidden principle here involves lead time. In logistics, lead time refers to the delay between placing an order and receiving goods. Under normal conditions, lead time in food supply chains is relatively short. But during disruptions, lead time expands dramatically. Transportation delays ripple through the system. Production schedules shift. Import shipments become irregular. Suddenly the items people expect to purchase easily are weeks away from arrival. When that happens, even well-intentioned preparation becomes difficult. The survival implication is straightforward but often ignored. The time to establish food resilience is before disruption begins, not during it. Food stored gradually over months does not strain the supply chain. Food purchased during panic events does. This difference determines whether preparation succeeds or fails. Yet even this understanding reveals another layer of complexity. Storing food is not simply about quantity. It is about stability, nutrition density, and shelf life under uncertain environmental conditions. Many foods that appear shelf-stable degrade faster than people realize. Cooking oils oxidize. Whole grain flours develop rancidity due to natural fats in the grain germ. Canned goods can last years, but their nutritional value slowly declines. Temperature fluctuations accelerate these processes dramatically. Food preservation science explains why certain traditional storage foods remain reliable for decades while others deteriorate quickly. Grains such as rice, wheat, and maize contain high caloric density and relatively low moisture when properly dried. Low moisture environments inhibit microbial growth and slow chemical degradation. Legumes like lentils and beans provide protein stability when stored dry. Salt, sugar, and honey have extraordinary preservation properties because their osmotic pressure prevents bacterial survival. These foods form the historical backbone of long-term food storage across civilizations. But modern diets rely heavily on processed foods designed for short retail cycles rather than long-term storage. Packaging often prioritizes convenience and marketing appearance over preservation longevity. Thin plastic films allow oxygen transmission. Oxygen exposure drives oxidation reactions that degrade fats, vitamins, and flavor compounds. Over time this reduces both nutritional value and palatability. This leads to the deeper scientific principle often overlooked in emergency preparedness: oxygen control. The primary driver of food degradation in stored dry foods is oxygen exposure. Oxygen allows insects to survive, supports aerobic microbes, and accelerates chemical oxidation of fats and vitamins. When oxygen levels inside food containers are reduced significantly, shelf life can extend dramatically. This principle is used industrially in modified atmosphere packaging and vacuum sealing technologies. Evidence Evidence from long-term storage studies shows that properly dried grains stored in oxygen-limited environments at moderate temperatures can remain edible for decades. Archaeological discoveries of ancient grain caches demonstrate similar principles on historical timescales. While nutritional degradation occurs slowly, caloric viability remains surprisingly durable when oxygen, moisture, and heat are controlled. The survival implication becomes increasingly clear. Food resilience depends less on emergency purchasing and more on understanding how storage science works. Households that gradually build reserves of stable foods using controlled storage methods create a buffer against supply chain disruptions. Those that rely entirely on continuous retail availability remain fully exposed to system failures. And this exposure becomes more concerning when we examine the growing complexity of global food logistics. Modern supply chains rely heavily on digital coordination systems. Shipping schedules, warehouse inventory tracking, and truck routing are managed through integrated software networks. These systems allow incredible efficiency, but they also introduce technological dependencies. Cyber disruptions, communication failures, or large-scale power outages can interrupt coordination across multiple nodes simultaneously. When coordination fails, trucks may still exist, warehouses may still contain food, and farms may still produce crops. Yet the system that connects them stops functioning smoothly. Deliveries become misaligned. Storage facilities fill unevenly. Some regions experience oversupply while others experience scarcity. Without precise synchronization, the network loses efficiency quickly. Emergency planners describe this phenomenon as cascading infrastructure failure. One disruption triggers another. Transportation delays affect retail inventory. Retail shortages change consumer behavior. Consumer behavior amplifies demand spikes. Demand spikes overwhelm remaining supply channels. Within days the system behaves very differently than it did under stable conditions. At this stage, public perception often shifts dramatically. People begin searching for explanations, sometimes attributing shortages to hidden motives or deliberate withholding of food. But in most real scenarios the cause is far simpler and more mechanical. Complex systems fail because they are optimized for efficiency rather than resilience. The same design principles that make food abundant and affordable under normal conditions make it fragile under stress. Understanding this distinction is crucial. When individuals believe shortages are caused by mysterious forces, they search for political explanations instead of practical solutions. But when the underlying mechanics of supply chains become visible, the path forward becomes clearer. Resilience must be built locally and individually because centralized systems cannot guarantee uninterrupted flow during major disruptions. This realization marks the transition from analysis to preparation. The question is no longer whether supply chains can fail temporarily. History demonstrates that they can and occasionally do. The real question becomes how households can reduce their dependence on uninterrupted retail availability without creating additional strain on the system. And the answer to that question begins with a principle that most people overlook when they think about emergency food storage. Because the true secret is not how much food you store. It is how the physics and chemistry of storage determine whether that food will still sustain you when the supply chain stops moving.